Does gentle parenting work? That's what a lot of people want to know nowadays. It's been a parenting trend for a long time. People are wondering, should I try that? How come not as many people are talking about gentle parenting now? Is it because maybe it doesn't work? In this video, we're going to talk about gentle parenting and what some of the drawbacks are. We're going to talk about what could work, what doesn't work, so you can be informed if you're looking at going in that direction. Gentle parenting basically is a parenting approach that focuses on emotional validation, understanding your emotions, and trying to make sure that your unmet needs are met. Now that sounds pretty good. There's some good things there. A person does need to understand their emotions. They do need to understand how their body works and that type of a thing. However, unfortunately, the gentle parenting movement has missed the mark. In fact, there are a lot of people pulling away from the gentle parenting movement right now because they've recognized their children have become more emotionally entitled, spoiled, mean. They're pushing against parental authority. They've recognized that it has become an emotional coddling, and this has not been healthy for their children in learning how to solve their problems. So I suppose the short answer is gentle parenting, as it's understood and practiced commonly, absolutely is not working right now. So that's important to understand. So what does work? Well, this whole channel is called Teaching Self-Government. Self-government is a principle of freedom. It's a principle of self-regulation. It actually means, the definition of self-government is being able to determine the cause and effect of any given situation and possessing a knowledge of your own behaviors so that you can control them. So that means that a person analyzes themselves and where they're headed, and they make plans for that. They have skills, proactive skills that keep them on track. So that's one big difference actually between gentle parenting and teaching self-government. So teaching self-government is a proactive approach to learning to control yourself. Gentle parenting is a reactive approach to yourself. I don't even know if it's controlling yourself. It's just understanding yourself, I would say. Gentle parenting waits until you feel something and then says, I wonder why you feel what you feel. So it's like this little investigative process, which seems very therapeutic for every single thing. So for instance, a child could say, I don't want to wake up in the morning. I don't want to get out of my bed. I don't want to get dressed, and all those things that need to happen every single day. And the parent would find themselves thinking, well, what's the unmet need? Well, maybe they do need more sleep. Maybe they're telling me that they require more sleep. Well, okay, everyone loves sleep, and when it comes to morning, many people don't want to wake up. That's true. It could be that the person had a bad night, but does that take away their responsibility? Focusing on this unmet need actually removes the responsibility that people are supposed to have. Without some sort of responsibility, you lose moral obligation to behave properly for other people. So then you end up having a sense of wildness. I was talking to a woman the other day. She was mentioning how at her church group, there was this fair that they were having. And at the fair, there were all of these children that were coming up and butting in to take everybody's food. They didn't even wait in line. They were just feeling very entitled to grab whatever they wanted. And these adults were looking at these children going, wow, this is such rude behavior. I can't believe they would be so entitled. And then out of the blue, here comes their mother. She just walks up, butts herself in line, and just grabs stuff. She does the very same thing. Well, there you go. They learned from the mom that what they wanted, what they feel they needed right in the minute, they should just be able to go and get it, no matter what. No waiting. What is waiting? Waiting is a no answer. No answers are hard. Many toddlers, well, let's face it, many adults and teens don't know how to accept a no answer. The teaching self-government approach to parenting teaches key skills like how to accept no answers. In fact, there's 4 basic skills of self-government that take care of 99% of a person's behavioral problems, and they help a person have the opportunity to learn personal responsibility, which means that they're going to evaluate again and again, and they will be corrected and get the opportunity to earn and understand negative consequences. In the gentle parenting approach, negative consequences are seen as a very bad thing. People spend their time looking for the culprit, the person who's at fault for this other person's behavior, which means that the person who has the behavior or the feeling is a victim and somebody else might be an oppressor. They go hunting for that person instead of giving the person the skills that they need to be able to cope, whether they can control a situation or other people or not. Maturity comes when a person says, no matter what happens around me, I know how to control myself. So if we are teaching the gentle parenting approach, are we effectively teaching these young people, these young adults going into adulthood, to not be mature, to not take responsibility for themselves, to not be able to accept when they can't have everything go their way? We might be. There was a book written years ago by 2 authors called The Coddling of the American Mind. And I do believe this gentle parenting approach definitely dovetails into the coddling that these authors saw that was happening on college campuses, where young people are constantly looking in their silos outside for all of the oppressors that might be coming to get them. They feel very entitled. It hinges on 4 untruths, technically 3 in that book. The 4th one comes in the 2nd book, which is The Canceling of the American Mind. These 4 untruths are, number 1, to always follow your feelings. Gentle parenting is the start of that. You have a feeling, you need to get it out, follow it, and then we'll validate it. We'll say, yes, you needed to get that out. Let's understand it. That's going a little bit far for the every day-to-day thing, okay? And always follow your feelings. Wow, there would be a lot of abuse, a lot of rape, a lot of chocolate eating, a lot of sugar consumption if people always follow their feelings. There would be a lot of people not getting out of bed ever, okay, if they always follow their feelings. The next untruth in this book is what doesn't kill you makes you weaker. So you are the victim of your circumstances. This completely fits well with the gentle parenting approach. Even though the parents want the best for their children, they don't want them to be victims. What they're really doing is trying to help their children recognize victimhood instead of going up above it and saying, I'm going to be anti-fragile and just choose not to be a victim of all of this. I'm going to be strong. They think that's weak. The gentle parenting approach thinks that's weak, when in reality, that's been the sign of leadership all the way along. The 3rd untruth in the coddling of the American mind is that there are good people and there are bad people. So what that means is that if somebody does something that hurts your feelings or that you end up with an emotional response to, they must be a bad person. If there's somebody who somehow makes you feel good, gives you pleasure in some way, they must be a good person. And then the 4th untruth, which is in the canceling of the American mind, is good people only do good things and bad people only do bad things. So if you're offended by one person one time, you're never going to be able to trust them or develop a relationship with them going forward. What is going to happen in families if that's the case? Are we going to go into silos in our own families? Are we going to go into self-protection, emotional protection mode in our families? That would be disastrous. So emotions happen. It's part of life. It can happen. So how do we help our families get to a place where they don't have to run the family dynamics with the emotion? That would be true empowerment. That would actually require some self-government. So self-government is an approach to parenting that can counter this gentle parenting movement and create a type of person that can rise above. I truly predict that in the future, that the people who have not fallen for the coddling of the emotions and just emotional validation and emotional vomiting and focusing so much on themselves and their emotions, the ones who did not fall into that, the ones who were emotionally intelligent, emotionally strong, and could say, I'm feeling this, but what do I choose to think about it? And then where do I go from here? Those ones who can lead themselves, who can give themselves instruction, no answers, who can disagree appropriately with other people, those people will be the leaders. Those people will be the ones that everybody else needs to preserve society. And that's what I'm trying to do here at Teaching Self-Government. I'm trying to create a movement of parents who will care enough to give their children no answer sometimes. To say, well, just because they cry doesn't mean I'm doing anything wrong. They're a human. And we can help them, say, well, yep, that was sad, but now how do we move on from here? I love you. I'm going to give you a hug. It doesn't mean you don't care. Everyone cares and everyone understands and really seeks to bond and unify with each other. But the difference is with Teaching Self-Government, we're going to give them the skills and the responsibility that they need to become a strong person for the future. I'd like to share more about this with you. I have a whole video, it's a full-length class called The Not So Known Secret for Parenting Success. So click on that link next. There's a free gift for you at the end, so be sure to stay to the end for that free gift, but you'll learn a lot of skills that should make some big changes at your house. Click on The Not So Known Secret for Parenting Success today. I'll see you there.